Hello or welcome back. Today we talk about KZ Saga. So this is a single dynamic driver IMs in a very budget price range. I get this for about $10 and I think you can get them at the same price on AliExpress. I have the base improved version, so it's not the balanced one. Let's see. So normally you will see this kind of box, square and small like this on some KZ set that are under 15. Like I have here, I have the KZ Libra X, or I have the KZ EDC Pro, but I think the EDC Pro actually even cheaper, so I got my EDC Pro just $5 already, and this box is even smaller and more simplified. Okay, so we have the Saga over here. Inside, I'm gonna give you the pair of IMs for sure, some ear tips like the black silicone ear tips from KZ. I want to open it, like we have plenty of it before, and we also have the copper cable. Not something fancy, but yeah, even if you buy something $80 $70 from KZ, you still have the same type cable, just like silver blade or copper. And I think it would do the job, because normally copper cable will slightly focus more on the low end, when silver plate will slightly focus more on the upper mids and the treble region. And I think this is a good choice to go with some pair like this when you want to hear some bass rather than like getting too much into the regions of the treble. The design, let's have a look. I think it has a pretty nice design. We have some vents over here. It actually have a very small shelf compared to other like base IMs that KZ have. We have the KZ Castor, for example. It looks a little bit bigger, all right, and longer. So some people may find it not suitable for them. It's also much thicker than this, because this one is 2DD. Or we have the CCA Trio. This one is a 3DD. It's also very thick and kind of long. So compare them together, you can see the Saga is smaller. So it may suit for more people. Okay, we have the Saga over here. I've been using them for roughly like a week now, so there would be some scratch on there. I think your pair gonna be the same if you're gonna use it and put them in the pocket. Okay. So I actually appreciate the smaller size, because I know there's a lot of people who doesn't want to wear something like huge like this on their ear, like they're thick, right? And I don't think they're heavy. These are pretty lightweight, even on this with a full metal shelf. You can still feel it's pretty lightweight. It's enough, right? Not too heavy, not too light. It's enough in between. Okay, talking about sound. Okay, I would say it is a quite balanced sounds with the mid, focus and elevate. It's not something like the Trio, right? You have the Trio as a pair of warmness and fun and plenty of bass. This one is not. This one, I think the tuning is kind of similar to the Castor or the Castor Pro, but they are smaller. 1DD, the new DD, and the overall sound, it's pretty appealing to many people. Okay, talking about the bass, you have plenty of mid bass and sub bass. They are controlled very well for the budget, and I think you will find they actually really fun, because they have a little bit of extra rumble. I think they not only elevate the mid bass but also the sub bass, so it had a little bit of rumble, and you may satisfy with this in the budget of $10. But when you take them to compare with something like the Castor or the Trio, they're things that's slightly different. I think even though they have very satisfying rumbling and the mid bass punch pretty okay, kind of punchy, kind of fast, not too slow decay, not too messy. When it comes to the quality, I think the bass quality on the Castor Pro, and on the Trio have better texture. Like you can feel more things in the bass rather than just punch and then rumbling out, punch and rumbling out. On these pair, you can actually feel more nuances to the bass. So I still like appreciate the quality of the bass in the Castor or the Castor Pro, which is a little bit like more expensive than the Saga. Again, it's not about the Saga is bad in any way, but when compared directly, I still think we have more texture on the others. About the mid, I think the mid on Saga is done pretty nice. I love how some female voice on the Saga sounds like. I think they have a bit like elevate to the upper mids or something, so it sounds pretty pleasant. Not wow, but yeah, it sounds good for the price, and it also sounds I think it's a little bit thicker than on the Saga that I hear. I think the Saga have something missing in the low end or low mid. This one you have the full sounds. I can think of these mid on the EDC Pro or something. I think they do the same thing. They just elevate the bass. The treble, it's kind of weird. All right, it's kind of weird. So when I listen to the Castor, it kind of harshness when it comes to the upper regions, but the Castor is harsh on some percussion instrument, so you can hear the sound of the drums or the sound of something like pretty harsh. All right, so it's kind of metallic, it's kind of difficult to hear. I think some people may prefer that metallic, but my preference not like that. All right, I don't like it at all. It just kind of hurt my ear. So this one we're gonna be hash on, so those percussions on the upper region. This one, there's a bit hashiness, but it's not from the percussions or the instruments. It have the harshness on the voice itself. So I think they have putting too much things in the air region or something, or somewhere around 5K, 6K. So on some female voice that normally pronounce sounds like Aurora, or some songs like Show You, like I See Love from Jonas Joel, these one can be pretty harsh, especially at high volume. So I personally don't think these two can scale with high volume. Alright, if you turn on the volume on them, you're gonna want to turn it down. At mid volume, these sounds fine. The KZ Castor have a little bit more mid bass with a little bit more texture, but the speed and the rumbling, oh, I think I missed that. So the speed of them are the same. The Castor actually have a little bit less rumbling, less sub bass. This one have more sub bass. I think they both go deep. The Saga go pretty deep, not to the point that it can come to your chest. The Castor also, it go pretty deep, but not too deep. Like not enough for, I think lots of people who had described to me that they want to hear the rumbling through their chest. But I don't think you can feel them on these one. I think the first reason is that it have extra rumbling, but you cannot scale with the volume, so it's pretty hard to play at high volume, and also it cannot reach to your chest as the other one can do. If you want that kind of rumbling, I think you should go for the Trio, or I don't think the Castor Pro will do the job. You know, I feel kind of weird with the Castor Pro because it's like in between the Castor and the Trio. It have something better than the Castor, but not to the point of the Trio. I think because the tuning on the Castor is still slightly bright, while the Trio is warm, dark, and fun. So on the trio, you may lose some details, you may lose some sharpness in the treble, you may not satisfy, you want to listen to orchestra or something. But overall, the treble is tamed down pretty much to the point that you can feel everything quite naturally, not metallic, and you can scale on the volume. I find myself enjoy the trio a lot, so that's why I still keep it until now. I sell lots of pairs, and trio is still on my go if I want to hear some extra bass. It had a very satisfying treble and mid regions. It may sound warm and dark a little bit, but in the end, this is a extremely fun pair and can scale with the volume. On these two, I don't think you can turn on the high volume. Mid volume are best for them. You can turn on the high volume, but it's not for long. Okay, and so the overall, I think the Saga bass for the price is still good compared to something like Castor, which is slightly more expensive or maybe cheaper. I think they lower the price. It can compete with the Castor Pro, but I think the upper region of Castor is like a little bit more tamed down. The sound stage is wider than on the Castor Pro compared to the Saga. I also think that the Saga can compete with it if you want to have some extra grumble and you want a full metal shells or small shelf like this. So if you ask me, hey, should I get the Castor Pro or should I get the Saga? I would say it depends. If your ears are big, just get a Castor Pro. If your ear is not that big, get the Saga. If you want extra rumble, you get the you get the Saga. If you don't want extra rumble, you just want normal thing with elevated mid bass and the treble region is a little bit tamed down, have like better mid, have better openness and airy and less harshness than Castor Pro bass, sorry. And if you have smaller ears, you want to enjoy the music, you want to enjoy a little bit of metallic, so it's like fun, you can get the Saga. And if you are someone who listen to music at high volume, trio is the only thing you can go for. Actually, the trio actually go much deeper than these things. When I turn on like maximum sub bass and maximum bass, sometimes I can feel my jazz is rumbling. Sometimes I get headache from it too. So it's still a beast under $50 when talking about the bass. Right? It had better textures. I think it had better separations. Also, it scaled well with power. It still offers you a decent amount of detail. It sounds more natural, non-metallic. And it's still the king of bass head, like under 50 for me only. I think people will talk about something more expensive like the HPP Blonde Z300. I don't have that yet, but from all my pair, I prefer this one the most. Okay, in the end, something interesting for you. Something that the Castor Pro and the Castor doesn't do well is the scale with power. I have my iBasso JR Macaron. This is a DAC that can actually turn on high gain if you want to. And something interesting that I find, because I tried with a DAC before with other pairs, the Castor and the Castor Pro cannot scale very well with high gain. But when it comes to this one and this one, things gonna be interesting. You can put on the trio on high gain. You may feel more spacious in the sound stage. You can feel a little bit more like space between everything. It offers better separations, better sound stage, while maintaining the bass. And the bass actually have a wider and bigger texture. And the same thing happened on Saga. Okay, I don't know if anyone tried this before, but I tried on the Saga and I was surprised. Oh, the bass still punchy. It still punch very well, it expands the Y. So normally you hear like, right? And now it's, I cannot tell how would I describe that, but normally like when the bass hit, right, it just getting to a part of the sound stage in your mind. Now it's yet expands. Now it expands a little bit, and it hit like I don't know. It hits with a huge, like large amount rather than normal. If you are someone who have a lot of pair of IMs and you have a DAC for yourself that can put on high gain, please try this and tell me. I still find it's kind of strange, kind of weird, because this one can scale with the power, while the Castor and Castor Pro cannot. When you put on high gain on the Castor and Castor Pro, they actually reduce the bass, but on this one I don't feel like the bass is reduced. I think the bass is enhanced with more texture, and it's opened the sounds kind of bit. So I think I would enjoy the Saga on the high gain on my JR Macaron rather than like play it at normal one. But it's still a good pair of IM. It's still a good pair of IM. I like the new driver from KZ. I don't like that tuning, but I like the driver. These are pretty good. The cable, it's not the best, but it will does the job. It will reduce a little bit of hardness. I think they pair well with each other. The tips are not the best. They're just fine. It'd be great if you have small ears, if you want a full metal shells, if you want to have something sound natural, like the full mid, full vocal with a little bit of elevate in the bass, sub bass and mid bass as a whole. So you will have the more solid punch and also the extra rumble on this pair. Alright, that's it. I think I talk a lot for this pair. That's what I hear from a whole week getting this. Thank you for listening.